I like to read to get to sleep.
I do the dishes while I'm cooking.
Ooh.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're examining how Mr. and Mrs. Smith could be starting a trend in regards to the blending of genres.
Okay, so you're mad that I saved the day. That's what you're mad about.
No, I'm mad that you take all the credit.
Action and romance seem like disparate categories. One focused on shootouts, car chases, and death, the other on love and companionship. But, as Amazon's Mr. and Mrs. Smith beautifully proves, the two may be more alike than we think. The two genres work so well exactly because they shouldn't. Opposites attract and all that. Blending the two together allows your product to span demographics that typically don't overlap. It allows couples that might otherwise disagree on their entertainment to find common ground and watch something they can both enjoy. And perhaps most important of all, it allows the action genre to be sexy. You see, action relies on romance more than one may think, and action brings an exciting spark of life to romance.
You got this? Be careful. Nice one, babe.
Come on, why do you think James Bond has been popular for half a century? It's not because he drives invisible cars, we'll tell you that.
Aston Martin call it the Vanquish, we call it the Vanish.
As Mr. and Mrs. Smith smartly proves, action and romance don't just work together like chocolate and peanut butter. They actually complement each other through their themes, storylines, and ideas. Francesca Sloane and Donald Glover proved with Mr. and Mrs. Smith that action and romance are one and the same, and that action could be used as metaphor to help explain romance. And they did this through the structure of the series. Episode 1, First Date. Self-explanatory.
I think they're just easing us in. You know, it's always like this at a stakeout at first.
The couple's getting to know each other, sharing a drink at a local pub while bonding over their shared experiences. They take a walk around the city while trying to intercept a package. The episode even ends with them delivering a gorgeous cake, a physical symbol of capital R romance, of etiquette, beauty, and refinement.
Okay. Wow, so just a whole new life.
Episode 2, Second Date. John and Jane are asked to infiltrate a black tie event and give truth serum to a shady billionaire. In essence, this is the couple's first major date, a fancy occasion that requires them to dress nice and look sharp.
Nice.
Oh, thank you. So do you.
And when they accidentally kill Eric Shane and dispose of his body in the composter, it serves as the couple's first obstacle that only brings them closer. In this case, sleeping together for the first time.
Do you want to kiss me? It's not as dogs this time, just actually.
First vacation. John and Jane head to the Italian Dolomites to spy on Gavall and Parker, serving as their first international getaway. But it's also through Gavall and Parker that they learn some hard truths about serious relationships. The couple's doomed relationship asks John and Jane to confront their own, and each takes a different side in the couple's fight. Through their fight, we learn that John is a more caring and loving person hoping for physical intimacy, whereas Jane is a more calculating woman focused on her professional work.
Is it so bad to just want to have affection from your wife? It's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, that's Gavall Martin. Her net worth is, what, like the GDP of Australia? She needs sleep.
Just like Gavall and Parker, the fractures begin to show, and John and Jane have their first major fight. But following an intense shootout in the snow, Jane helps John regain his composure, and the two strengthen their bond. Once again, through tragedy and death comes healing.
I really care about you.
Double Date shows John and Jane as a happy and confident couple, hosting an elegant dinner and getting along well with their guests. In this case, their guests just happen to be fellow spies. Do You Want Kids is when things start to fall apart for our titular heroes. This episode is one long extended metaphor, with the frail and needy Toby Hellinger standing in for a young child.
I think I threw up.
Hear me. I'll go.
No, it's fine.
He demands things and tests their patience, and whereas Jane is maternal and caring, John is cold and demanding.
One leg over slowly.
We don't have a lot of time.
There you go.
He knows we're in a hurry, right?
It's okay, John. Okay.
Boy, if you don't put your foot on the ground right now.
It's telling that the episode ends with their house, the very symbol of domesticity and stability, exploding into pieces. just as Toby represents their potential child. Their exploding house represents their inability to root. The final 3 episodes of the show combine to tell an extended tragic story about the couple's downfall. The two attend couples therapy and burn down the therapist's house. John starts seeing another woman, a rival spy who nearly kills him with a garrote, and they finally break up as they attempt to kill each other. Who hasn't? Mr. and Mrs. Smith tells the story of a doomed relationship. It just does so through the guise of an action series. Each episode acts as a step in their relationship, with the spy subplot often symbolizing an aspect of their personal lives. It proves that action and romance can be intertwined, that one can actually stand in for the other and help develop its themes. Mr. and Mrs. Smith isn't that interested in the spy aspect of things. It just uses it as a Trojan horse to sneak in ideas about awkward first dates, vacations, fights, family, and domesticity.
John, you want to bring kids in to this life after a day like we had today?
And, like many works of spy fiction, it displays the sexy allure of the genre. There are gorgeous international locations, including the aforementioned Dolomites and Italy's Lake Como. There are sexy suits and extravagant outfits. Their house is filled with giant TVs and seemingly endless bottles of wine. It's all very sexy and alluring, beautifully blending the danger with the passion. Provided Mr. and Mrs. Smith does well, it could start a trend in regards to taking more creative risks. It could encourage the blending of seemingly disparate genres and the use of metaphor, perhaps using one genre to help explain the tropes of another. It's an exciting prospect, and one that proves the universal aspect of storytelling, however different the story device may be. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Equally exciting is what Mr. and Mrs. Smith did with old IP. In today's entertainment landscape, we're being endlessly bombarded with remakes and sequels that don't really try anything new. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith took an old idea and put its own unique spin on it, taking the basic premise from the 2005 film and using it to explore what is essentially a brand new story. It proves that rehashing old ideas doesn't need to be boring. It can be artistically invigorating and intellectually rewarding, with the old story serving as the foundation for new creative building blocks. The success of Mr. and Mrs. Smith proves that we want something new, even if it's rooted in the nostalgia of the old.
I'm Jane.
I'm John.
What do you think of action and romance together? What did you think of Mr. and Mrs. Smith? Be sure to let us know in the comments below.
Hey, what's your worst trait?
I can't lose an argument.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.